perception, bro. It's all like perception creates reality. That CEO who saw in me, right? He saw I had some whatever chutzpah, like a little bit of like whatever. He liked me, right? Because something I put together. Again, it was not a startup that was making real money. Like it was just like an idea.
It was an idea.
It was an idea that had a couple of people interested in it. You see what I'm saying? Like that's the potential. Money is then just the expression of someone's belief in you.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
So you worked on the startup,
Yeah.
right? And now you transitioned into New York.
Yeah.
Okay. What happened after that? How big did it get? Or how long did that go on for?
Yeah, so in New York, the startup, I mean, we had some good highs. Like the highs were kind of cool. Like I once went into a office because I was fundraising, right? Because I was looking to kind of build it in, and I raised a little bit of money.
Okay.
But then at one point, I got a bunch of people trying to buy the company.
Okay.
Which is cool.
Well, what are we talking?
Like, I mean, like
Initially.
like it was like not that much. I mean, even now the whole thing wasn't that much. But for me at that point, it was cool because again, you're talking about external validation.
Something someone wants, which
Exactly.
you have.
That's dope.
Yeah.
Because you're like, is this a joke? Because
Yeah.
a lot of people are like, are you working on something that's not real? Like
Yeah.
serious? Or,
Yeah.
So when you get that, you're just like, dude.
Okay.
I'm onto something.
Yeah.
The fact that you people are putting
That you
money.
want this, so I have something here.
Exactly.
I'm gonna work on this.
Exactly.
Okay.
So that was like the first offer was I think like $300,000 or something like that. So it was like a really small amount, and I was like, this is.
And that's not all yours.
It's
You
not
have
all mine.
investors.
Yeah, I have investors, and then also like you have a partner and stuff like that. So you know you're not gonna get that. And then the coolest one was this guy who started this big company, and he came to meet me, and I was fundraising, and he talked to me. He was like, "Hey man, come into my office. I want you to meet my boss." So he was like, "Okay, cool." So I walk in there, and he's like, this guy walks in, he's like, "Nikhil, I've heard a lot about you." Gives me a handshake. He was like, he's like that. He's got that Bill Clinton charisma. You know what I mean? Like someone who's just like very assured, very confident. Looks like when he talks to you,
looks right through you.
He's just like exactly. He's just there.
Yeah.
And he's just like looking at you. He's like studying you a little bit. You know what I mean? The meeting was at the most 5 minutes, 10 minutes maybe. Okay. Right? And then I leave. And during that meeting, he goes, "Okay, well, here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking you get like $750. Yeah, okay. Yeah, we'll give you like maybe like $750 in stock and then like $250 in like cash. How does that sound? Do that like?" I was like, I didn't know what was happening.
Hey, how's that $1 million sound?
Exactly. Because I didn't know what was happening.
You're
I was
like,
just sitting there.
Is there someone else in this room?
Yeah, who are you talking to right now? Who's this? Like, because I didn't know what the meeting was. I thought it was more like, hey, just meet my CEO.
You weren't there for an offer.
I did not know that was the case, right? So I come in, and so I was just like, I was like, that was interesting. And I was like, wait, 750 kips in the elevator coming down from this huge ass building in Manhattan.
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit, that's $1 million offer.
You're like 750,
250. Like it happened so fast.
Yeah.
When I came on the street, I just started screaming. I was like, yeah, American dream, mofo. Like, you know what I mean? Like you're so happy because you've seen this story so many times.
And now you're that guy.
And now you're that guy.
Yeah.
You're that guy now. Yeah. You're like, it couldn't have felt a better conclusion to my American. Like if somebody killed me right there, I was like, no, that was a good life. Like, you know what I mean? Like it was that cool little arc. So, so I immediately called my parents, my investors, all of them were like, yeah, man, this is awesome. And then
what did your dad say?
Oh, my dad was ecstatic. He was just like,
he's probably like, I told you.
I told you. He was like, I knew my son always had it in me. My dad's always a guy who finds optimism in like every choice I make. Okay. You know what I mean?
Okay,
like,
that's good.
Yeah, like he'll constantly talk about things that could go wrong. But then when things happen good, he's like, oh, I knew it, man. You were always like, you know what I mean? Like, but the point was, I called my dad after that interview and after that offer, and I'm like, oh my God, Dad. He's like, oh, he was like, I knew it. This is, you should do whatever feels right to you. Now he's like, you should do it. So, I was super pumped. I told my friends about it. I was like taking the Greyhound back home. It's like, bro, I was like on cloud 9, right?
Of course.
And then I called one of my really good friends, and he goes, he's super pumped. He's super stoked, but he's like,
so in your mind, have you already accepted this?
Yeah, I was like, dude, this is, I mean, it's just I was just super happy that there's $1 million on the table. Like, just
it's
having
on the
that,
table.
It's on the table. Mm-hmm. And I think on some level I had accepted. I was like, I mean, what else is there? Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's $1 million. You cross that threshold of being significant in the start. You know what I mean? Like, it's a bare minimum. You're like the poorest rich person in the world, but like you're still now in the rich category, whatever that means. So on the way on the bus, he was like, I was talking to him. He's like, yeah. He's like, but you're not gonna sell, are you? You're not gonna sell though, right? And I was like, what you mean? He's like, dude, I know you. Like, you love this so much.
Yeah.
I don't think you're actually gonna sell this. And I was like,
oh, so now you're thinking.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, he's right about that. Because you get hyped in the beginning. Who doesn't get hyped when things go good? But then after, like, it kind of settles, you think about it and you're like, one, I really believe in this idea. And I didn't just do it just to
You weren't done with it.
I wasn't done with it.
Right?
Yeah. And, like, also, I wasn't doing it just to make money. Because you can make money in a lot of different ways. I legit wanted to build something and say...
you could be an engineer and a doctor.
Yeah, yeah, I could go back to being both an engineer and a doctor.
Yeah.
So I legit wanted to build something that was my company. I wanted to be Steve Jobs. I wanted to be Bill Gates. Like, that's the real, you know what I mean? The power and all of that. So it's a very ego kind of driven thing, but you need that level of ego a little bit, right? Because otherwise it's hard to survive. So I was thinking about it, I was like, yeah, and also strategically it made sense because at that time we had like a few clients. I was like, if I get like 2 or 3, like double the amount of clients, my offer for the next time somebody was interested could go up. So if it even goes up to like 2-3 million or 4 million, you know what I mean? Like,
it's just because it was $1 million. It's something you worked for in that moment. You're on that high.
Yeah.
But then you take a step back and you're like, wait, this 1 million could be, like you said,
exactly.
2 million.
2 million, right? All you got to do is, it's a numbers thing because how they're doing it is like, okay, you make this much money, you got this many clients, just 3-4 times that, whatever.
Yep.
So that was a cool experience. And then I just remember spending time with my family. I was like, yeah, I don't think I'm going to do it. And it wasn't like fuck, like F them. Like, I'm not ever going to do it. Like, it was more like, I honestly feel like there's more to it. And all my investors were kind of stoked about it too. They were like, yeah, you could, if you wait a little bit longer, you could get a better return.
Okay.
So they were supportive of it. Like, my advisor was supportive of it. And I was like, okay, all right, let's see what happens. So I told no. And the guy, I just remember 1 or 2 of the people being like, dude, that's crazy. You just turned down that much money.
Yeah.
But like,
because we're talking stocks too.
So that's the other thing. It's not all cash. So
it's only $250 cash.
It's only $250 cash, which then you're now paying the investors first, right? Because they get the first thing.
Yep.
And then you're splitting that with your co-founder. And then there's post-tax, right? Because taxes are going to be... So by the time the money that actually shows up in your bank account, it's going to be a lot watered down.
A lot more.
The $750K stock, dude, stocks are like a pipe dream for a lot of companies. They're like, you can get stock in this company because they're all thinking you're going to be Facebook.
Exactly.
Right? You're thinking this stock is like Apple stock when it first came out, which was like 50 cents, and now it's like 50 million. Like, that's what everyone's hoping for, right? Yeah. But that's so rare. Like, I just don't think that's like...
There's a handful of companies.
There's like literally a handful of companies. So if you're going to work for that company, you have to legit believe in that company and be happy about like the work you're doing. And I just was like, this company was cool. I just wasn't like, I didn't know too much about this company, the company that was trying to acquire us. And I was like, okay, cool. I mean, you guys look like you're pretty awesome. Things are growing. But I just was like, I don't know. And I felt like the way that CEO was trying to place me, he would have probably sent me to like their IT center in India.
Yeah.
Because he kept mentioning it. He was like, we have this great place in Hyderabad. We got a lot of engineers there. We could use people to help out.
Gotcha.
So I was like, this dude's going to like ship me off. I'm going to get like very little money.
Yep.
And then you have to be there for 4 years to vest it.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So by the time I get out, I'm like...
It's not like your hands are clean when you're gone.
Exactly. Like, you spent like the last 4 years of your 20s...
Yeah.
doing, you know what I mean? So then I was like, that's a lot of time to kind of, you have to really commit to this. You have to really, so I was like, I don't know if I feel it. So that plus the fact that I really believe in the company and all of that, I decided not to. The funny thing is this company is now public.
Really?
Yes.
Oh,
dude.
How's that feel?
Dude, it burns. It kills, right? Because you look at it and you're like,
yeah.
And so I
but you didn't know. That's the risk.
You don't know.
Yeah.
And I was talking to my other entrepreneur friends about that, and he laughs as well. And he's like, dude, but he's like, one of my friends was like, I invested in Bitcoin, but like I could have put in like $5,000. I put in like 1,000. Like I could have paid off all my college debt, like insane amount of money. And he's like, we take risks, we take chances. We don't know what the outcome's going to be. And I remember hearing the story by Gary Vaynerchuk where he's like, dude, don't fixate on regret. Don't fixate on things you missed out on. Because he's like, I had an opportunity to invest in Uber 3 times or 2 or 3 times. He had something like that. And he was like, at a very cheap price each time I passed. He's like, do you realize, because Gary's whole thing is he wants to own the New York Jets.
Yeah.
He's like, do you realize if I had invested in them, I would be a freaking billionaire right now? Like, it's like, he's like, I think about that a lot. And I'm just like, why? But he's like, dude, there are a million things. He's like, so next time you fixate on like, oh, things you missed out. Just remember, I missed out on $1 billion. Like, you know what I mean? Like there are people who literally miss out on much bigger things. So it's like, it's part of life, bro. It's like, you know what I mean? There's more ways than one to make money. Yeah. But it's a good lesson because it was like a really cool, it's a good story for me. Think about like, you know what I mean? Like
it's that experience that you got from it at this point.
Exactly. Right? And it's also like perception, bro. It's all like perception creates reality. That CEO who saw in me, right? He saw I had some whatever chutzpah, like a little bit of like whatever. He liked me, right? Because something I put together, again, it was not a startup that was making real money. Like it was just like an idea.
It was an idea.
It was an idea that had a couple of people interested in it. You see what I'm saying? Like that's the potential. Money is then just the expression of someone's belief in you.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
That's right.
Like you and me could go out and sell the same exact product. But if you convince that person, like, this is like the most amazing thing, they'll be like, dude, I'm totally bought in. And that's the thing I think about. Like, money should not be the measure. It's one measure, but it's not like the full measure.
The measure.
Yeah, it's not the measure.
Right. It's not the one thing.
Yeah. So that was I enjoy that experience and I don't mind sharing it because it's like a good kind of, okay, you're learning. Like you're picking up on things. You're like, okay, that didn't work, that worked. You know what I mean? So when you look at it from that perspective, you're like, oh, that's cool.